Making an AI film sounds simple until you actually try it. You generate a few clips, try to put them together, and suddenly nothing matches. The characters look different, the scenes feel disconnected, and what you thought was going to be a film ends up looking like a random collection of videos. That's why I created the best workflow to create Hollywood-quality films using nothing but AI. And I don't mean just a few cool seconds of footage, but an actual short film with consistent characters.
Commander, are you ready for what's coming?
I trust the mission. I trust the team.
We are now 30 seconds from liftoff. The eyes of the world are on this pad. In just 30 seconds, this rocket will lift off and carry our mission into orbit. History will be made tonight.
All systems green, T-minus 15 seconds.
Houston, I have a green board. So by the end of this video, you'll go from having no idea where to start to having a complete workflow you can follow to make your own AI film from scratch. Before we open any tool or generate anything, we need a story. This is the step most people skip, but it's what separates a finished film from a couple of random videos. You can write your own story if you already have something in mind, but for this guide, I'm going to use Claude and paste in a simple prompt to get mine back quickly. And what we get is a near-future cinematic short, following an astronaut with clear story beats and character arcs. When you define your story beforehand, you're creating a blueprint that every single asset gets built around. That blueprint is what keeps your character looking the same in every scene, what keeps your locations feeling like they belong to the same world, and what keeps the whole film reading as one coherent piece rather than a random collection of AI generations. Without it, consistency is basically impossible. So get your story locked in, and then we can start building. The tool that makes this entire film possible is called Higgsfield, which is an all-in-one AI platform that gives you access to everything you need in one place. Once you're inside Higgsfield, you'll see the navigation bar running across the top of the screen where everything is organized. The tool we're going to be spending most of our time in is called Cinema Studio, so click on that. Cinema Studio is Higgsfield's dedicated AI film production environment, and what makes it stand out specifically for this kind of work is that it understands cinematic language. You can give it shot types, camera movements, film references, and it actually uses that information to shape the output. It also allows you to control everything like a film director, and that distinction is what makes it different from other video generators. If you want to follow along and create your own AI movie, use the link in the description to sign up to Higgsfield. Now, instead of starting with video generation, we need to build our assets, specifically our characters and our locations. This is the foundation everything else gets built on. Make sure you're in image mode inside Cinema Studio. For our first character, the model we want to select is Auto because it tells the AI to work directly from the references and the prompt you give it without applying any additional stylistic interpretation on top. This is exactly what we need for our first character, because I want them to be based on me. I'm going to upload a collage of myself that includes photos from different angles and close-ups so that the AI has enough visual information to understand what I actually look like from more than one perspective. I'll set the aspect ratio to 16:9 and paste in this prompt and generate. The two-panel result is exactly what we need. The full body shot on the left gives us the complete suit and silhouette, and the close-up portrait on the right locks in the facial detail. The face reference carried through cleanly, and the costume looks exactly like I imagined. This is our astronaut. Now, every time we create an asset in Cinema Studio, we need to save it so we can reference it later during video generation. The process is the same every single time. Go to video, then upload media, then elements, click new element, upload the image, set a name, I'll name him Yuri, set a category, I'll do character, and save. Do this for every asset you create because this is what allows Cinema Studio to pull these references directly into your video prompts later. Our second character is completely fictional, so we don't need to upload any references. That's why we're switching the model from Auto to AI Cast, and then clicking Build Your Cast. This opens a small configuration window that lets you define your character through a set of structured options rather than a freeform prompt. Here's what we're selecting. Genre is drama, budget is 80 million, era is 2020s, archetype is sage, gender is female, race is Asian, age is 35, body type is slim, and outfit is formal. All of these are intentional and impact the final output, so be extremely thorough with what you want your character to look like. What Build Your Cast does is take these parameters and generate a character that feels like they belong in a specific kind of film. The genre and budget settings in particular shape the overall visual quality and aesthetic. Selecting drama at 80 million tells the AI this character should look like she belongs in a serious, high-production film. Generate, save the result as news anchor under the character category, and that's our second character done. Now we're building our 4 locations, and for this we're switching the model to cinematic cinematic locations. This is the best model in Cinema Studio, specifically for generating environments, because it's trained to produce spaces that feel like they were designed for a film. The lighting, depth, and atmosphere are all elements that stand out in each scene, and they make them feel cinematic. The workflow is the same for all four. Select the model, write your prompt, generate, and save. I'm going to move through these one by one. For the press conference venue, the prompt produces a modern room with seats facing a sleek glass podium, a holographic mission badge floating above the stage, and soft overhead studio lighting. It looks futuristic without it being too unrealistic, which is exactly what we want for a near-future film. For the rocket cockpit interior, what comes back is a tight single-seat space that genuinely feels claustrophobic. The seat is surrounded by panels that make the scene even more intense. The worn industrial texture of this environment is what makes it feel real. For the mission control room, the result looks exactly like the ones we see in movies. The contrast between that mundane environment and the extraordinary thing happening on those screens is exactly what will make our video stand out later on. And for the launch site, the rocket is the main focus of the shot. It looks intimidating in a good way because we want this shot to communicate scale. All four locations are saved. Now that our asset library is ready, we can start making the actual film. Switch Cinema Studio from image mode to video mode. The interface shifts slightly, and this is where all 14 of our videos are going to be generated. Before we start, I want to explain the prompting format we're using throughout this entire workflow, because it's one of the most important things in this whole guide. Every single prompt in this project uses a format called JSON. If you've never come across that term before, JSON is a structured data format that organizes information into clearly labeled categories that a system can read and interpret precisely. Instead of writing a paragraph and hoping the AI picks up on what you mean, JSON breaks your prompt into specific fields, and each piece of information has its own labeled slot. The reason this matters for AI video generation is that when you give Cinema Studio a structured JSON prompt, it doesn't have to guess what's most important or how to weigh different elements against each other. The hierarchy is already built in. The outputs are more consistent, more cinematic, and more faithful to what you actually intended. I noticed a significant difference in quality the moment I switched from plain text prompts to this format. Now, writing JSON from scratch is not something most people do manually. That's why I use a tool specifically for this. You can find the link for it in the description below. The workflow is simple. Write your scene in plain English, and it converts it into a properly formatted JSON prompt you can paste directly into Cinema Studio. That's the bridge between your creative idea and the technical format the model needs. So let's start generating. After you save your characters and locations as elements, Higgsfield automatically checks their eligibility. Once that's done, we can create our first video. We'll use Yuri as a character and the press conference as the location. For the emotion, click the smile mark next to your character reference and pick the emotion that matches your scene. Cinema Studio lets you assign an emotional state to each character per video, and that information actually shapes how the character is rendered in the final output. For Yuri in this scene, I'll select Vigilance, since this is the most important mission of his life. Genre is drama, duration is 15 seconds, resolution is 1080p, aspect ratio is 21:9, audio is on, and shot control is smart. Paste in the JSON prompt and generate.
Commander, are you ready for what's coming?
I trust the mission. I trust the team.
This is exactly what we needed for an opening scene. When Yuri walks into the press conference, there's an immediate sense of weight to it. The 21:9 aspect ratio is doing a lot of work here too. That ultra-wide format is what gives it that film quality rather than looking like a standard video. Yuri looks exactly like the character we made, and you can see how the vigilance emotion affects the way he acts. Having this many settings to control, and all of them affecting how you will direct your video, is something I've only seen Cinema Studio offer. Now for the next video, I'll show you a technique that becomes essential for maintaining continuity across the whole film, and that's using the previous video as a video reference. Go to Upload Media, find the video we just made, then add it as a video reference in your settings for this video. When you reference the previous video, Cinema Studio uses it as a visual anchor. It understands the lighting, the character positioning, the atmosphere, and it carries all of that forward into the new video. Without this, each video risks looking like it was generated in isolation because technically it was. The video reference is what creates the illusion of a continuous scene. For this one, we're keeping the same character, the location, and emotion since we're still in the same scene. The one thing that changes is that we're now adding video 1 as a reference. Everything else stays the same. Paste in the JSON prompt and generate.
How do you respond to those critics? Your father, he was a hero. We all know what happened to him. Are you concerned that the same thing might happen to you?
We have trained for every scenario.
The continuity between these two scenes is immediately noticeable. The lighting matches, the color temperature is consistent, and Yuri's positioning in the frame feels like a natural continuation of the previous shot. That one extra step of adding a video reference makes a bigger difference to the final film than you'd expect. There are a few moments where Cinema Studio didn't hold up though. When a journalist is talking, the camera moves past him and a different person continues to deliver that line. Also, for a few frames, Yuri is missing from the scene and reappears. But honestly, these are things that we'll fix in the editing. When it comes to AI movies, editing all your videos together is just as important as generating them, so you can fix any mistakes the AI makes. Now I'll jump ahead to video 7 because this one demonstrates something genuinely interesting about what AI filmmaking can do. This video tells a story across two completely different locations within a single 15-second generation. We're using the news anchor and placing her at the launch site, so those are our image references for this video. For her emotion, I'm selecting Hope, which makes sense given what this scene is about. She's reporting live on something historic, and that emotional state is going to come through in how she's rendered. No video reference this time since we're entering a new scene for the first time. Only use the video reference technique when the video you're creating is a straight continuation from the previous one. Every other setting stays the same. I'll paste in this JSON prompt that calls for the news anchor reporting live from the launch site, and then a cut to a family watching the broadcast from their living room. That kind of intercutting between different locations is a classic filmmaking technique. It expands the emotional scope of a scene by showing you how the same moment lands differently for different people. The fact that we can prompt for that level of narrative complexity and have the AI actually execute it is impressive. So let's generate.
We are now 30 seconds from liftoff. The eyes of the world are on this pad. In just 30 seconds, this rocket will lift off and carry our mission into orbit. History will be made tonight.
That transition was so smooth, and the result captures exactly that contrast. The anchor looks consistent, both when we see her live and on the TV screen, and every element transfers from one scene to the next seamlessly. Video 9 is also worth highlighting because it's the only video in the entire film that doesn't feature either of our main characters, and that's completely intentional. I'll upload just the mission control as the location, with no characters since the scene is entirely environment driven. I'll generate using this prompt.
All systems green, T-minus 15 seconds.
What this video does for the film is give the audience a sense of the scale of what's happening. There's an entire room of people whose entire focus is on making this launch succeed. There's tension in the atmosphere, and that will make the launch itself feel more significant when it comes. It also gives the audience some breathing room as the tension builds before the payoff. Let's jump to video 11, which is the moment the entire film has been building toward. Let's make the liftoff. Again, no characters or videos needed for this one, just the launch site as the location. The genre set to action to showcase that moment of release, and the rest of the settings stay locked in. The prompt calls for 4 distinct shots within 15 seconds. Let's generate and see if it delivers. I was honestly worried about this one, because a rocket launching into space isn't something most models can pull off smoothly, but Cinema Studio nailed it. After 10 videos of building up tension, this is the payoff, and it lands exactly the way it should. After generating all of our videos, it's time to put them together into an actual movie. For the editing, I'm using CapCut, but use whatever video editor you're most comfortable with. The editing process matters more than most people realize, because even the strongest clips fall apart if the pacing and cuts are off. Small inconsistencies can also come up during generation. In video 10, for example, the yellow harness wasn't visible on Yuri, so I just zoomed into the frame in CapCut to crop it out. Once everything is assembled, you'll notice one more problem when you watch it back. Yuri's voice sounds slightly different across the clips because each one was generated separately, and that breaks the illusion of a continuous film. To fix it, go back to Higgsfield, click audio in the top navigation bar, and choose change voice. Here you can create a voice using your own MP3 files. I've already made a voice for myself, so I'll select that and generate. This converts every spoken line in the film to one consistent voice. This will also affect the other characters, but that's fine. Just go back into CapCut, swap in only Yuri's lines from the converted version, and leave everyone else on the original. And now, let's look at the final result.
Commander, are you ready for what's coming?
I trust the mission. I trust the team.
How do you respond to those critics? Your father, he was a hero. We all know what happened to him. Are you concerned that the same thing might happen to you?
We have trained for every scenario. Thank you, everybody.
We are now 30 seconds from liftoff. The eyes of the world are on this pad. In just 30 seconds, this rocket will lift off and carry our mission into orbit. History will be made tonight.
All systems green, T-minus 15 seconds.
Houston, I have a green board.
Copy that. You are go for launch.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2.
Let's go.
Have achieved orbit.
We did it!
Stars are closer than I thought. The best part is that this workflow works with any story you have in mind. So if you want to start creating your own movies using AI, click the link in the description to sign up to Higgsfield. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.